even if you are thinking this is all going to get better, this is just the first step, for a political party to say this is overblown, right? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I think in this case, being more precautious is the right thing to do.
Felt like my discipline master last time pulling you into the office and then sit you down and talk to you, that kind of
Because he was in his office. He was in his office, right?
Sit you down and then talk to you. Come, sit down. And then like scold you or tell you like, wow, you fucked up this time.
It's like before you leaving your house, someone tells you, Terrence, there are dark clouds outside.
Yeah, be safe.
Be safe. But he doesn't tell you, okay, I have umbrellas if you need. If you need anything, you help, you give me a call, you'll be there.
Yeah.
Terrence, there are dark clouds.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're like, so? Singapore is hitting the big 6-0 this year. And Folklore, our audio service, is marking this milestone by interviewing 60 Singaporean seniors over 60 years old to capture their life stories for our Words of Wisdom project. Because these are folks who've seen it all, the ups, the downs, and even kopitiams turning into hipster cafes. Their stories are national heirlooms that need to be preserved for future generations. And we've already recorded and launched the first wave of 20 recordings. So you can listen to these raw, unfiltered conversations filled with life lessons, memories, and a whole lot of heart. But we still need your help to find more legends to feature. Got a parent, grandparent, or that uncle who's always dropping nuggets of wisdom at family gatherings? Great! Nominate them at folklore.com/words of wisdom to make sure their stories never get lost. You can also check out the first wave of recordings on our website. The link is in the show notes, so help us keep these stories alive. And now, on to the podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How's the weekend?
Pretty good. Busy weekend. Kids at the football phase now.
Oh, is it?
So yeah, I had to decide this weekend, what club do I want him to support?
Oh, is it?
Because I'm not like you, where you decided a long time ago since you were a kid that you're going to support Manchester United. Right?
Yeah. And still do.
Yeah. I'm quite agnostic about what club I support. I just like to watch football. But I had to, I'm looking to get him a kid, right? So I kind of got to make a decision now about what kid to get him.
Oh.
Yeah. Any tips?
But what are you looking to get him? What was a milestone there? What, he's liking football?
Yeah, attending, he tried out a couple of classes and stuff like that.
And he likes it?
Likes it, and then, when you go to these classes and you see all the other kids all wearing, football jerseys and kits and all that. Some in the decked out fully, Liverpool colours and all these things, or Man City colours. Then, they'll be like, oh, I also want to have a full kit.
But if you are, agnostic towards football teams, then get him an agnostic kit, lah.
But that's the problem, What's, even you get agnostic kit and all, usually they like it, to have a player or someone to look up to. So you kind of need to make a decision. Yeah.
Is it?
And I'm kind of worried that if I choose one of the Premier League teams and then, next time, down the rabbit hole, I end up having to be a fan of one of these teams or so.
No, but because if you get those kits and all, I remember growing up, it was just random jerseys.
Correct.
Random jerseys. Because the first kit I ever got was my teens. So maybe don't get them a club kit.
Actually, the other one I was looking at was at Singapore teams. Because I attended, the Daniel Tan and the Brisbane Roar. They came by Singapore and they play against the Women's Premier League team.
Oh, you went to watch?
Yeah, I went to watch it live. Yeah, at Bishan Stadium.
This weekend?
Yeah, on Friday night.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. But yeah, Women's Premier League team . I don't know much about the Women's Premier League, and I'm not sure my kid will watch the Women's Premier League also. So I have to also consult with him if he wants that.
I don't know, man. I would say don't get a kid of a club. Not yet.
But you were hook, line, sinker to Man U, right?
But my first Man U jersey, I got in my 20, I think. So I think when you get the kid when they are that young, right? I think it kind of cheapens it. Trivializes it.
Isn't it become a thing where you and your family can actually support a team together and all?
You can support without wearing a kit, right?
Correct. But it's just more. Let me just adjust this. It's just more. It becomes a family event, all right?
Yeah, but you can have family event. I mean, watching it, you can still watch it. You can get a scarf. But I think you get a kid that young, right? Then it becomes more oh, this kid is so cool as opposed to just football,
Yeah.
Football.
So I did come to a decision. I'd rather him understand how amazing this one player is as opposed to a club or what. So I thought maybe a Messi jersey lah, like Inter Miami, which is like very few people watch the MLS here.
I would say that's even worse than getting a kid, because then like if Messi becomes like the benchmark for the footballer, he's unreachable, no. So I think now it's focused on getting them to love the sport lah. Otherwise, individuals
Yeah.
I don't know, like individuals. Maybe when you're older lah, when you're younger, getting them to be like Messi, then will he play defender?
No, he won't. But I mean, I do like the Inter Miami jersey lah, the pink and the black.
Oh yeah lah.
Yeah, it looks good lah.
Then one must get Messi.
No, it's just aesthetic lah. It's just aesthetic. No. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I was looking for like, okay, teams with nice jerseys where it doesn't scream so much that I'm like Man U sycophant or Man City
Just get
post Saudi money.
Just get a generic jersey, Tariffs.
I already have generic jerseys. Already have. Just trying to see if there's something else I can add to the.
The other thing about players is like you never know like what is unveiled in future. Ryan Giggs used to be one of my favorite players.
Oh yes.
Until I found out he was sleeping with his brother's wife for 8 years.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, how is that possible? So you put him attach him to like Messi. You never know in future what Messi is done.
True. Never know. Maybe. So now I'm just really basing on aesthetics lah. The Inter Miami jersey looks good lah because of the colors.
If you want, you get him an ugly jersey, and if he still wants to play, then you know he loves the sport.
Correct. Yeah. Which one's ugly? Which jersey is ugly?
I don't know. Which jersey is ugly?
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be a kid. So my whole thing is don't get a club jersey.
I don't know, but let's say if you wanted something that was which team is ugly lah? That's the question.
I mean, Man City lah. Light blue I always feel like it's
really.
Jersey,
I think it's quite cool.
I don't like light blue.
I think it's too cool. It's quite cool.
No.
Yeah. Too feminine for you, is it?
No,
Baby
I just
blue,
think light blue. I don't like light blue.
That's your bias as a Man U fan speaking.
No. Any Coventry or like Derby, those jerseys light blue. I don't know. Because to me, like when you see the football pitch, you see the green of the stadium, the multicolors of the fans, the blue sky. Then the light blue on the pitch also, right? I feel like there's a chance for another color to be there.
Correct. But basketball has gone down that route, right? Where people don't really support teams as much as they support the
players,
superstars. Like I know people who will support LeBron wherever he goes. So now it's the Lakers, so just nice they support the Lakers. But if he leaves, it will be another question.
The only time I would actually support like a player hardcore if it's like a Singaporean player in a Premier League team or something. Then wherever that Singaporean player goes, you want to support that club.
Yeah. So that's what I thought for Brisbane Raw. There's a Singaporean there. But I'm not sure if she'll be there next season. So that's the question. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But how about you?
My weekend was good. I think my kid discovered she has a tongue for the first time.
Okay.
So it's just damn funny lah. Like she's just sticking out her tongue and like so that was one highlight.
And tasting right? Tasting food.
Yeah. Now we're in the solid food phase.
Solid foods, yeah.
So
messy, that's very messy.
The meal prep that we were doing, there's meals for us. But then I'm like, I got a chemistry lab for making all the purees and shit like that.
I see.
And freezing it and all.
Wow.
So I mean, fun.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. I do like that whole measuring and like figuring out how to do this and pureeing. And I ordered a new blender, a hand blender.
Wow.
That's my weekend now.
Well, you're discovering this side of the kitchen that you never knew existed, right?
Oh, but actually in the kitchen, I actually have grown to enjoy cooking already.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not devaluing your contributions to the kitchen. Don't worry. I'm just saying it's another style of cooking and and everything.
It's very unappetizing, It's unappetizing as hell. But so we got a whole menu that my wife planned and I'm executing.
I see. Wow. Exciting.
Yeah, exciting. The blender's arriving today.
Oh, the blender hasn't arrived yet. Still hand blending.
I was using the big blender, which is a bit hard, but this is the hand blender. You just jam it in the beaker.
I see.
So that's my weekend.
And then eventually all the kid stuff that you end up buying probably ends up like costing a lot more.
Yeah, so that's why I'm the researcher we realized we need a hand blender. I'm like, okay, give me a few days. I'm gonna find something that's cost effective, not overpriced, good, and all that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, because there's no limit.
Yeah. And the moment is like for kids, marketed for kids is like 3 times the price. Yeah. It's very scary.
Yeah, so trying to avoid all that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, nice to see the videos of ours, last few videos continuing to get views, traction. The ones with Bertha, Paul Tambaya, Ong Ikang,
Speakers, yeah.
Speakers came out on Saturday.
Yeah.
We had that full circle moment where we started off by talking about him, talking about us in Parliament.
Yeah.
So nice lah, exciting.
Exciting. But it's quite exhausting. Like every weekend, there's just so much developments or news about the parties and all now, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, not exhausting, but it's quite overwhelming. Hard to keep up. But I guess that's why we're here, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you say exhausting, then you're not even walking the ground. You're just reading the news, dude.
Just trying to keep up.
But yeah, I think overwhelming because even the first topic we're going to be talking about, there's so much to digest. So we'll try and help you guys out, lah.
Correct. And then maybe that's why it's a good time to also follow, like, share, subscribe to our podcast.
Yeah.
Because we do this, right? We read the news, even no matter how exhausting it is, we read it, we condense it, we talk about it. Even if we don't know about it, we also invite people to come and talk about it as well.
Yeah. And we always do start off with some banter, because can you imagine people sign up after like the Ong Ikang Tambaya, and then the first 10 minutes we're talking about making baby food and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relevant,
Part
right?
parcel, man.
Hey, choosing a football club is not that different from like the voting process as well, right? You also have to think about why you're voting or why you're choosing a club,
And
right?
the ingredients that goes into a baby puree.
Yeah.
Puree, which you know is going to be nourishing her and helping her mind develop.
Yeah.
It's like voting.
Yeah, in script writing, we call this foreshadowing, right? We talk about the
correct.
topics by not talking about them.
Yeah. A little lesson there.
But if you want to work with us, what should people do?
You can hit us up at contact@ministryoffunny.com or visit ministryoffunny.com and drop us a message there.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, follow us on social media. TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, and YouTube and Spotify. Cool. All right. First conversation.
Yes.
It is about, I mean, everybody has been hearing about the crazy tariffs that the US has unleashed on the world after their Liberation Day on April 2nd. But something that was unleashed on Singaporeans also happened on Friday, where Prime Minister Lawrence Wong released a 5-minute YouTube video that warned Singaporeans about the global calm and stability we once knew not returning anytime soon.
Yeah.
And that we should brace ourselves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a 5-minute video, him talking straight to the camera.
Yeah.
Some other politicians and MPs and opposition party members have come out with messages as well. When you saw this, do you see it on Friday itself?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And what did you feel?
No, because I was quite concerned about the tariffs, right, and what that means for the global economy and all. But yeah, seeing Lawrence Wong come on and do this almost like emergency broadcast, right?
Friday.
Yeah, Friday kind of highlighted how scary this issue seems to be for everyone, policymakers and Singaporeans. Plus the fact that he, pulled up a chair and was seated and talking. It sent shudders down my spine because it felt like my discipline master last time pulling you into the office and then sit you down and talk to you, that kind of thing.
Because he was in his office, He was in his office, right?
Sit you down and then talk to you. Come, sit down. And then like scold you, or tell you like, wow, you fucked up this time, It's not like, I think he's done videos before where he speaks directly to the camera, but a lot of times it's, he's standing and generally like got Singapore flag in the background or quite jovial and all that. This one, it was meant to look very serious, right?
Yeah.
And I knew, oh shit, shit has hit the fan.
But you got any PTSD or any memories?
No, it just reminded me of I mean, he's really telling you that this is serious.
Yeah.
You got PTSD seeing this?
No, as in just the COVID times.
Oh.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Like the memories of here's the PM addressing the country. He wasn't PM back then, but he was the chair of the multi-ministry task force.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of addresses that he gave to Singapore.
Yeah.
So this one, it felt like, oh shit, Friday this comes out.
But it didn't activate like emergency buying of toilet paper or anything in you,
No.
Because during COVID, every time he came on and made an announcement, everyone ran to the supermarkets.
But I can imagine this having a spill-off for investors. Lawrence Wong, instead of selling or buying toilet paper, they're selling or buying stocks.
Yeah.
Because the same thing. The past week is scary these tariffs. And just trying to understand what the hell it means. But Lawrence Wong was very pointed, saying that Singapore must brace ourselves for more shocks following US tariffs. And his tone was a bit somber.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
But he's not the first person to address it. Gan Kim Yong,
Yeah.
DPM, was the first to address it, right? In
Yeah.
front of media. This one is like something that he scripted
I
and
think
put out.
Assembly also he also in a chat with Chan Heng Chi a few weeks ago, I think he also talked about it
But this was before they were actually
before
implementing.
they announced. And I mean, Gan Kim Yong was during an interview where this came up, but this one is Lawrence Wong sitting and talking straight to the camera, no?
Yeah.
Not much smiling, just that we should brace ourselves, lah.
Yeah.
So on top of that, of course, there were a lot of articles written. Pritam Singh, leader of opposition, on 5th April, so that was the next morning, working on a Saturday, kind of said that, we need to. He kind of lauded Lawrence Wong's call for a united population in the face of significant uncertainties, and he even said verbatim, the PM is correct.
Yeah.
And focus a lot on unity, lah. That that it's more about Singapore coming together during these times rather than focusing on our differences, lah. So that was his response. But at the other end, PSP, so Leong Man Wai and Dr. Tan Cheng Bok specifically, during the launch of their latest manifesto on April 6th, so 2 days after Lawrence Wong's video, there's a 78-page manifesto. They both kind of said something along the lines of the Trump tariff fear is overblown. And I think they were directly referring to or implied that, Lawrence Wong is just taking the chance to fear-monger ahead of elections.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were saying that, we need to remain calm. Leong Man Wai said as an economist, he feels that there is too much uncertainty to really say for a fact that these are very tough times coming.
Yeah.
So when you saw that, any alarm bells, or were you calmed?
Calmed by who?
Leong Man Wai
Leong Man Wai
and Dr. Tan.
No, not really. I mean, to be honest, myself, I was quite. I was reading a lot about these tariffs announcement, right? And I think it's everything sounds kind of dire going forward. I think the only silver lining is you don't know the duration of these tariffs, right? And whether there's going to be any walk back on it or negotiations going forward, right? But right now, as it stands, it does sound like a bad thing, and I mean it more from even just as a consumer, everything is probably going to go up in prices. Then as a business also, economy slow down, it's not going to be good for anybody, right? The fears of recession are very high now. So yeah, it doesn't, I mean, just kind of saying that we just got to sit back and wait and see is also not a very great response that we want to hear at this point. I think, like for example, like when we had Ong Yi Kang on our podcast, and he spoke quite candidly about how the tariffs are going to affect Singapore. I think that laid out in quite clear terms that Singapore will be affected, even if not directly by tariffs, right? So I thought that was a very clear explanation and allowed us to all understand a little bit more about why we're so vulnerable. But yeah, I would like to have more information than actually less, right? Whether it's like people dismissing the fears of the tariffs, or just using very motherhood kind of statements to say what we need to be afraid of, like in Lawrence Wong's speech.
But like, I mean, you said you've been reading up a lot about tariffs because Ong Yi Kang came before Liberation Day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So since then, what have you learned about tariffs, that someone who's listening, maybe they understand all this, there's something happening with tariffs, but what have you learned about Liberation Day specifically?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that you can read out there about it and all. I think the biggest concern is that there basically is we're going down a direction where there's no way back, where basically the US will just stop, will no longer be a trustworthy partner in terms of whether you sign any free trade agreements with them or anything. There's no way to trust anything they're going to say, right? They'll just walk away from it. And Singapore, even having a trade surplus with Singapore, still subjects us to this 10% tariff that is just a blanket thing, right? So there's almost like no regard for international rule of law or contracts that you signed. And I think we've been in that situation, right, where people signing a contract doesn't protect you from anything if someone just wants to screw you over. So understanding that that's what Singapore's biggest trading partner now, that's the mode that they're in. And Singapore is just one of many, many hundreds of, like 180 countries, right, that if anything would want to negotiate and talk to the US about what's going on. We're probably very far down the pecking list or so, right? The pecking order. So it just means that it's going to be very hard for a country like Singapore that's very dependent on trade, for our economy, right? And that's why I felt very worried about it, aside from just the numerical figure.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, as I've been trying to understand the tariffs, there were things about the announcement that Trump made on April 2nd that I didn't know initially until I kind of dive deep into it. And, like, I think Singapore is the lowest tariff rate amongst ASEAN countries,
10%,
and globally also, right? And like I think that the things that I've learned that I can talk a bit more, but all in any case, right? I also feel like for them to say this, right, it does them a lot of harm, lah.
Yeah.
As a party to say this.
Party meaning who?
PSP.
Oh, PSP, okay.
Yeah, for this to be coming from two of their most senior people, that it is overblown. I mean, like the thing about the terrorist thing, right? So right now there's a lot of talk about how this is the most messed up thing. But I tried to go down the path of like also looking at commentators and all who are talking about. Of course, you get some really right-wing people who say this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But you also talk about some people who have a more measured approach about, okay, how this could play out. And it does feel, of course, this could be totally wrong, that this is the first step to negotiations, right? And I'm saying that I think like what you said, there's no more trust in the US,
Yeah.
and they're too volatile.
Yeah.
But I also feel that there are going to be developments. So, but for a party to kind of hinge on these developments, I think is a very dangerous thing, lah.
Yeah.
Because in these sort of times, who knows? Maybe because even like I think Elon Musk today said at some right-wing conference and all, he's hoping that there's zero tariffs between the US and EU. And then you hear people dissecting Trump's negotiation tactics. Apparently, it's always the first one, just lowball them as a starting point to show that you mean business, but the goal is to get a good deal for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think that's almost giving too much hope.
Yeah.
The thing is, they are volatile. And some of these tariffs, and at first I was thinking, when are they going to kick in? Is it going to be like a month? No, I think like this Saturday.
Yeah.
Some are already kicking in.
Yeah.
And then, did you see how some people figured out how the team may have calculated the tariffs?
Yeah. Yeah.
And basically, I think there are numerous videos. There's one CNN video. So the whole thing about these reciprocal tariffs, right, was when you see the announcement on one column, there is the tariffs that these countries supposedly impose on the US, and the reciprocal tariffs that the US is now going to impose on them to, take back the money and stop the pillaging and raping,
Yeah.
which is what Donald Trump said, right?
Yeah.
And he called them kind tariffs because in a lot of cases, they are less than the tariffs that the countries are imposing on the US. So at first, I thought the numbers of what the other countries impose on the US were actually like verified.
Yeah.
But what went viral was that apparently the way they calculate it is the trade deficit the US has with that country divided by the exports from that country, imports from that country.
Yeah.
And that, for example, China amounts to 67%.
Yeah.
And you divide it by 2 is 33-ish%, rounded up to 34.
Yeah.
And that is a reciprocal tariff.
Yeah.
And in one CNN video, he went down all the countries
Yeah.
and found whatever public data, and it seems like that was a calculation.
Yeah.
So it feels like, what the hell is going on? Is this,
Yeah.
you can understand between two individuals negotiating, you and your friend or small companies, but this one is on a global level, which even if you are thinking this is all going to get better, this is just the first step, for a political party to say this is overblown, right, I think it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think in this case, being more precautious is the right thing to do.
Yeah, but I guess what they're saying also is that their precaution is like you look at what Lawrence Wong said, right? Did you glean anything from his announcement other than
It's
tough
scary times,
ahead?
yeah.
Other than that, were there any
No.
clear policy or better understandings of tariffs and things like that you got from it?
No.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? That not just PSP, but other online commentators are also saying is that even Bertha Hansen himself has said, like, can he give more specifics? Can Lawrence Wong give more specifics other than just asking Singaporeans to stay stronger, stay together, and all that, right? In some way, when I think again, not tooting his horn, but when Ong Yi Kang came on our podcast and talked about it very openly before Liberation Day and all, it helped people understand a little bit more, right? I wasn't getting that from Lawrence
That's
Wong's
true.
communications.
Yeah.
And I've been feeling like Lawrence Wong's communications have, in the lead up to this election, right? I feel like a lot of it is just noise, a lot of motherhood statements and all. I mean, I've seen him on a couple of podcasts, not ours, but a couple of podcasts. But just generally very motherhood statements about Singaporeans staying together, forward Singapore together. Very like AI generated kind of prime minister speech,
Yeah.
So I in some sense, if you want to criticize, if Tan Cheng Bock is saying that fear-mongering, I think he's basically just saying that, he's also saying that there's not any real solution or real kind of information that people can take from these statements, other than like, oh, clouds are dark and stormy outside, get ready, that's it. Yeah.
Actually, that's true, because when we were talking about when you asked me what I took away from the video, right?
Yeah.
The one thing was fear.
Yeah, fear, nothing else, yeah.
Yeah, fear.
Yeah.
And
Do you feel assured, anything?
no.
I didn't feel assured.
In fact, when you were saying that his comms, which I also feel like right now, I think Lawrence Wong coming out of COVID the past few years, I've actually seen him in high regard, we have spoken about him, how he can talk about issues as divisive as like even race issues, but his manner of delivering it is actually very admirable.
Especially during COVID, right?
Yeah,
Especially during
even
COVID.
after COVID, I remember there was
the
one...
Economist interview, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but past few months, it's kind of like I don't know what he stands for anymore.
Playing guitar, his
and
MBTI, stuff like that. No?
yeah, and when you said, like he's saying a lot of motherhood statements, like the one thing, when you listen to opposition parties, some of them, they have substance.
Yeah.
Some of them, they back it out with research, and some of them are the motherhood statements.
Yeah.
That, cost of living is too high, GST is too high, blah, but they don't back it up. Now, Lawrence Wong's comms feels like the flip side to that.
Yeah.
And it's not assuring. It's like before you leaving your house, someone tells you, Terence, there are dark clouds outside.
Yeah. Be safe.
Be safe. But he doesn't tell you, okay, I have umbrellas if you need.
Yeah.
We if you need anything, your help, you give me a call.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
Terence, there are dark clouds.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're like, so?
I don't feel anything. Yeah.
Dark clouds.
Yeah.
And if we stand together, we'll be safe.
Yeah.
But Terence, there are dark clouds.
Correct.
So that's true. In some sense, that is fear-mongering.
It is. Yeah. If the emotion you walk out from there was just fear, then you could say maybe PSP is pushing it a bit to the extreme, saying that it's overblown, right? I don't think it's overblown, but I do feel that the comms in that particular speech from Lawrence Wong a bit lacking, right?
To be fair to PSP, that was the title of the headline, but if you read and try and understand what they say, they did say that they normally exercise restraint on external events because they do not criticize the government on their external policies. They also echoed that they must stand united as Singapore and Singaporeans when facing the foreigners. But they just cautioned that, you need to think deeper about these sort of issues. Nobody knows the impacts of the tariffs. Of course, you can see the stock markets globally just tank.
Yeah.
The Leong Man Wai, in his words, he said it's a little overblown. So there was that caution that, we need to hold more restraint, greater restraint in these cases until there's more research.
Yeah, correct.
Which, to be fair to them, you read the headline, it implies like they were like, this is nonsense,
Yeah.
But they also were a bit more measured.
Yeah. But could it be, the truth is we are very early in this process, right? After the reeling from the tariffs announcement. Could it be that there's really not much more that it can be updated? Other than, although we got from Gan Kim Yong's side that Singapore would not impose retaliatory tariffs, right? I think that's a very clear thing. But I also was hoping for a bit more explanation or nuance about why that is why we won't go down that route also, right? Just to understand the thinking behind the decision.
But if you think about it, this is a message that he wants to be understood by the masses. In some way, you get too technical, you get too detailed. You think my mom will forward something that is explaining tariffs?
But then it needs to be a longer explanation. Right now, it's a very short speech that he gave, right? And it's affecting people's sleep, whether it's because of their stock their stock portfolio crashing or anything like that, right? People are worried. So if you're asking me, does it need to be more technical? I mean, I'm hoping that there can be a bit more understanding, like who is talking to who, how are we engaging with the US side and all that, right? You know, all these things are all, I think it's worth letting people know what's happening.
True lah. I mean, for example, I think Gan Kim Yong, in his doorstop interview, he said something. I mean, as specific as we will reach out and engage our US counterparts and better understand their concerns. See how we can work together constructively to address some of these concerns.
Yeah.
And that they are engaging across multiple levels. So in some sense, that is a bit more assuring that okay, they are working on it.
Yeah.
That's like me telling you, Terrence, there are dark clouds, but I'm really looking for umbrellas.
Yeah. Trying to procure umbrellas from a lot of
but
people.
be safe. Be safe. So maybe that's what you're thinking. Is it something a bit more concrete, lah?
Yeah, because like you, I also went down a rabbit hole watching stuff about tariffs and even listening to the chief of his transition, give a podcast interview about this issue, just to understand what the US government's team is thinking. What is their thought process behind it, right? I haven't finished watching everything, but it does make me a bit more cognizant. Okay, how they're seeing it from their side as something positive for them,
Yeah.
And that's the level of understanding that we're not getting from our mainstream media or from Lawrence Wong's speech, right? Yeah.
In fact, like going back to what I said, the one thing I got was like, oh shit, this is scary times. And if you look at it in the context of an election, around the corner,
Yeah.
you could say that, oh shit, is it like when I was watching it, I was like, oh, maybe all this,
The Lawrence Wong speech.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, all this talk about, increasing public holidays and all, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Does it matter? GST go out 1 more points. If we're in for a fucking rough, does it matter or not?
Yeah, it does.
Then can we vote for uncertainty now or not?
Yeah. I mean, that's a question, right? Like, do you think like people will be, when feeling more uncertain about the geopolitics and the global economy, will they retreat to vote for PAP?
I think so.
Okay.
I think a lot. I mean, it's more of the same lah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the same so far the past few years, past few decades has been better than most places lah.
But at the same time, during COVID, right, I mean, the vote share actually dropped for PAP from 2015 to 2020 and COVID was big crisis, international crisis, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of bucks that trend of bucks that belief that that's going to happen, right?
But you could also look at the flip side, right? Maybe if not for the fact of COVID and the world going through that, the votes would have dipped even more.
Oh, possibly. Yeah. There could be that also.
Yeah, because I mean, I would imagine most people, like, if you're going through a lot of shit, you want something that is stable. And that's the way I would think. That's the way I would imagine people would think.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we speculate. But then just the numbers, numbers alone, it actually dipped, right?
It dipped.
So I don't know, man. But the Singapore voters these days are also a lot more, more not say well read, right? But they're more aware, right, of stuff going on around the world, social media and everything.
Maybe amongst the older generation who have 10, 20 years left, you're like, you do radical change now for what? Like Trump himself has been very vocal saying these are tough times, but we got to ride it out.
Yeah.
So if you want big change, there will be some teething issues. So I would imagine the older people, they're like, I want to be here 10 years more. Why would I? If things are going to be that certain, right?
Yeah.
Uncertain these next 10 years, I vote. But for the younger people, I don't know. Maybe it might be this the time we need drastic changes, because if we carry on with the same, it's going to be shit.
Actually, I think that might be a very strong message that the opposition side has to put out.
Yeah.
That we need new ideas.
Yeah.
You can't just ride on the coattails of what Lee Kuan Yew and the pioneer generation did, right? We really need new ideas. And where are these new ideas coming from? Quite new, radical ideas.
And that's something that Dr. Tambaya also said, right?
Yeah. And that's why you see, a new 5-year plan for Sengkang, PSP's manifesto that, has a lot of very easy to understand graphics that they released alongside the 78-page manifesto. I think these things are going to be very important, that these parties show that they have alternate ideas and alternate vision for Singapore. Yeah.
And I mean, like, we would love to ask PM Wong these questions straight to his face.
Yeah.
We have reached out multiple times to his team.
Yeah.
Still no dice.
No dice.
Even though we've seen him go on other podcasts,
Yeah.
answer questions that are not the most political, but we will continue reaching out.
Hopefully.
Hopefully he can come on.
It could happen.
Hopefully, PM Wong, we would love to have you.
Yeah.
PM Wong's team, we would love to have him. But yeah, we're gonna keep trying lah.
So, very familiar. It felt like the presidential election.
Yeah, exactly.
Where we spoke to 2 out of 3 of the presidential candidates, but
Because-
the strongest one.
Yeah.
Lah.
Same thing. President Taman, we invited you. We invited your team to invite you, but no dice.
Yeah. Yeah.
No dice.
I mean,
no dice.
yeah, boils down also to what our format is and kind of questions we ask. So
I mean, yeah, lah. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the
we
thing.
need to. We will. I mean, we won't get everyone that we want to get also.
Yeah, we are reaching out to everyone.
Yeah.
So we are reaching out to everyone. If you don't see someone of note who not on our show, it's probably because schedules couldn't make it or they didn't respond lah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, like, also one of the things he said, the global calm and stability we once knew will not return anytime soon. Has the world felt calm and stable for the past 5 years?
I think you look at the
COVID,
no. I think we're thinking long term, like since post World War II, right? Not that things were particularly more stable during the Cold War or anything, right? But I think you have to. I think generally the world has been a bit more peaceful.
Oh yeah, true lah.
Since then,
Because he did bring up examples as far back as the Great Depression, World War II, and all lah. So maybe that's the time horizon lah.
Correct.
Woo.
But yeah, looking at things happening at a much macro global scale, and then coming down not just to Singapore but to one particular GRC, right? And just seeing the amount of activity going on. There's so much explanations, and everyone is throwing their hat in the ring in this place. I'm like, wow, what a marked difference in terms of how people are approaching it.
Yeah, that's right. That's why it's concrete numbers, man.
Yeah, this GRC is getting a lot of solutions, a lot of alternative ideas and solutions.
Yeah.
Which GRC is this?
It is Marine Parade Bradle. And because there was an announcement over the past weekend at Kampong Ubi CC on 6 April that up to $1,600 in cash, Grab vouchers are going to be available for caregivers in Marine Parade cluster under a new fund lah.
Yeah.
So it's 2 new initiatives, one to provide financial support for caregivers of the elderly and persons with disabilities, and another to offer internship opportunities for local youths. So the initiatives were announced by Marine Parade MPs, Tan See Leng, Minister for Manpower, and Tong Tong, Minister for Culture, Community and Youth. And funny, the second initiative is about internship opportunities for local youths. Days after Tan See Leng kind of told people, advised undergrads to not look for what your stipend or pay would be for internship and do it for exposure lah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, why we wanted to talk about it? Actually, why did we want to talk about this, Terence?
I think there's a lot of people online who are questioning why is it specifically Marine Parade as a GRC or the Marine Parade cluster that is getting all these benefits, right? Whether it's for caregivers or for internship opportunities or free shuttle buses and
free shuttle
vouchers
bus
and all
also,
that.
yeah.
And quite shocking, like I said, you look at this launch event, Lawrence Wong was there also, right? Alongside all the Marine Parade MPs, Edwin Tong possibly, for Ju Chiat, possibly moving over the East Coast, but he's still there, Tin Pei Ling, formerly MacPherson SMC, also there. So a lot of everyone is there. Yeah, Speaker Shiok Comment from Braddell Heights also there. So big event lah.
Yeah,
Big
so
launch.
why?
Yeah, and so I mean, there are people who are questioning the timing of all these things and why is it specifically targeted at Marine Parade, right? And it seems like it's a cool place to be right now, Marine Parade.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is being rolled out for Marine Parade.
Yeah.
And then I think Tan See Leng even directly addresses that question when he said there was serendipity, right? That this happened. But but for you, like, why was this like such an exciting topic to talk about now?
I mean, it was one of the kind of non-election related things that somehow is being tied to the election, and felt that there's a. I mean, okay, the first topic we were talking about, potential fear-mongering by PM Wong in his video, and whether there's any justification to say that. And this is the flip side, like, is this really just catching on or being announced because all fingers are pointing to an election happening very soon. I mean, hard to say, but there was another announcement that also came out yesterday that there will be 17 HDB neighborhoods across Singapore to be that will be upgraded at the cost of 165 million. I think that was also why Sengkang, under the WP announced their slew of plans.
Yeah.
So I think it just feels like this does have something to do with elections. Oh, the reason why I wanted to talk about it was because there was actually questions about whether or not this was tied to elections, and that was asked by CNA. So Tan See Leng apparently said that the plans were an enhancement of ongoing programs and ended up serendipitously coming up at this particular time, which is what you pointed out. If you look at the amount of effort, the funding support, the rallying of the people that went behind the two very big and very engaging initiatives, those could not have been planned at the last minute. I mean, it doesn't really answer the question.
Yeah.
Because we all knew the election was happening this year.
Yeah.
We still don't know when.
And we also know SG60 is this year, right?
Yeah, SG60. So, do you buy that? Or do you think that, is election is expected, this kind of things will happen?
I mean, there have to be these events will happen, right? SG60 elections and all. It's quite hard to time everything such that they don't seem like they're closely related. I guess the bigger thing is that these announcements were also made at an event where, like I say, like everybody showed up, right? And even like people who are being rumored to be part of the slate for Marine Parade also were there, right?
But actually, what have you found online from your investigations about why Marine Parade getting so much attention?
I mean, we all know where Workers' Party is targeting this election, right? The whole East Bloc is something very big for them.
Yeah.
And I think even like East Coast with a lot of people say like the C team from Workers' Party, the last round with Nicosia leading it, they garner a good number of votes also.
Why C?
They're not even the B team, they're the C team.
Oh, there's Aljunied, then
yeah.
Sengkang.
So they're not even like the top tier team, but they managed to get a good number of votes. So it'll be a battleground. It's a battleground, and people, even the bus service, the shuttle bus service, people are questioning the need for the cost and maintaining that shuttle service, and why only Marine Parade.
Yeah.
And now I think these announcements also, people are asking those same questions as well.
Yeah. Because unlike the HDB upgrading, there will be 17 HDB neighborhoods. This is specific to caregivers in Marine Parade. I can imagine there being some stat that, got a lot of old people in Marine Parade. It's one of the most mature estates, right?
Yeah.
But it does feel a bit odd. And I think WP has been public in stating that they want to build from their east, right?
Yeah.
And East Coast, it is going to be interesting.
East Coast and Marine Parade, yeah.
So
all the big guns, seems like all the big guns were there this weekend.
As to whether or not this was timed with the elections and all, I saw some chatter online. I think Bertha was one of the more vocal proponents of this also, about comms, which I thought was quite interesting to note. Her response was that instead of denying that this has nothing to do with elections, it's hard to imagine that it had nothing to do. So why not own it? And say that, yes, elections are coming, we have these plans. So if you want to vote, these are what we are promising in the years ahead.
Yeah.
And by nature of the vote, if you don't vote these people into power, it might affect the chances.
Yeah.
So that it feels like, at least you're being honest, at least being straightforward. Whereas this one, Tan See Leng's answer about, so it's hard to plan it the last minute. What does last minute mean?
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
Right.
the event doesn't look like that, wow. It's just, of course, work needs to be done, permits. Oh, no, actually, there is a big tentage. So, it can't be planned at the last minute. But right from the start here, even we were speculating that elections might be May, right?
Yeah.
We, two lay people just reading the news.
Yeah.
So, it feels a bit like, really?
But at the same time, if they did that, if they were so blatant about it, right?
Then everything will be...
Yeah, people are just saying that, it's back to the politics of the 90s as well, where they're dangling HDB lift upgrading and stuff like that
Yeah lah.
as carrots. And, it's an insult to the electorate to do that, right? So I also don't see how they can be, what Bertha is saying, 100% just honest about it, right?
Yeah.
And say that they are timed for the elections. Because that will invite a whole other round of criticism as well.
I mean, no need to say that it's timed. It's say yes, this might have an impact on elections, but I mean, we are announcing it now. Just bear this in mind when you're voting, lah.
Yeah.
So not so much that you planned it to be directly in line with the elections, is that it does have an impact on elections, lah. But
I mean,
again,
my bigger thing is just the photo of like everyone in there, right, at the event launching it, even though they are not Marine Parade MPs.
Yeah, and Lawrence Wong is standing right in the middle.
He's right in the middle. I mean, as a guest of honor or something, okay lah. But it seems this again, it seems more like this is Team Singapore lah, right? And this is what you're voting for. Right? Yeah.
Wow, that is true. I mean, the CNN article has a picture of Lawrence Wong taking a selfie with the crowd, where the MPs of Marine Parade Bredel are in the back lah.
I mean, he is the leader of their party as well.
Yeah.
So I can give it to them that they are there lah. But on stage launching the whole thing, it just seems like a very, very calculated political display of power.
Because Lim Biao Chuan, who is not even from that GRC, is from Mountbatten SMC, also was there.
Yeah, because a lot of people are speculating now who's going to be deployed where, right?
Yeah, and
So
at first I
that's
thought
fun.
this was a nationwide fund that just happened to be announced in Marine Parade, but no, the care recipient of the grant must be a Singapore citizen residing in Marine Parade cluster. So yeah, it's geographically isolated lah.
And that's also another level of confusion, right? Because we all know that sometimes these electoral boundaries shift, right?
Yeah.
So is people whose electoral boundaries have shifted from Marine Parade in recent times, would they be eligible for this? That's the question. Yeah.
And I mean, there's also the second initiative, right, which is the one for interns, internships for young people. I mean, it also is for Marine Parade cluster youth lah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine got this group of friends who live across the road?
Yeah.
They're like, hey bro, you were applying for the internship or not? What internship?
Yeah, they don't have.
Oh, sorry, you're not part of the Marine Parade cluster.
Yeah.
So you don't have these internship opportunities lah.
Yeah. But do you think this makes like what Hazel Pua said when she was on the podcast? That when the government loses seats, then they listen to people. Do you think that this is an example of that? That when there's a threat of losing seats in Marine Parade, that's when all these big,
I think
big announcements happen.
Naturally, I think so lah. I think so. I think that does happen lah.
Yeah.
I mean, even it's human nature, right? Like I know someone scolded us in the comments, which is going to be a one-shot comment about how we use these stupid analogies of dating, Darren, to talk about politics. But I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
Let's say you're in a relationship with someone and you notice that got other people trying to flirt with your partner lah.
Yeah.
Does it mean you just sit back and relax?
Yeah.
No lah, you have to level up lah.
Yeah.
But not saying that you should only level up if there's external threats lah. And I guess that's what the goal of every political party should be like. You're leveling up not just because you have the fear of losing seats.
Yeah.
But human nature is otherwise lah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah lah.
But thanks for that very kind of shitty analogy.
That's what we do, man.
Yeah.
That's what we do. But yeah lah. This few weeks want to be. It's just. I mean, it's exciting lah.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's exciting. Like even you saying that this might be the PAP bolstering up their firepower in the east, right? Feels like really it's a battleground. Then you see WP talking about their newer candidates. Harvard graduate, ex-IMH the director who's a psychiatrist. Wow, it's like a showdown, man.
Yeah. Different. Yeah, like quite different approaches, right? You're seeing. I think the Workers' Party, when they announced their Sengkang plans as well, it seemed like a more community event, but really fronted by the Sengkang MPs, right? The three of them.
Not Pritam there, just like, hey, what's up?
Exactly.
What's up? Yeah, this is my party, man.
Yeah. So quite different approaches, right?
Different approach.
Yeah.
But yeah lah. I mean, we're going to see a lot of this. A lot of different approaches. You also see some parties saying they're going to do a walkabout in Pulau Ubin.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of this interesting things coming up lah.
But yeah, but speaking of that, like, what is your one Shiok comment?
I mean, my one shot comment just now, since I mentioned it already, I won't use that as my one shot comment. But yeah, there was someone who was scolding us for using the stupid analogies, because I think the previous one about the NMPs leaving, you said, "Would you break up with someone before Christmas?"
Yeah,
That's stupid analogy, lah, Terrence. Don't use this kind of stupid analogies
it's
again.
relatable. Alright. It's better than some motherhood statement. Better than some motherhood statement about how, like dark clouds ahead. And
Oh, that was damn funny. But yeah, my one show thing is on a Reddit. It's not any particular episode, but it was from a long time commenter, But Then Ho. And the title of the post is just want to reminisce about that first episode of Yalabat that I listened to back in July 2020 about GE 2020. And I mean, she goes on to say very sweetly, to all of us anxiously waiting for the guys to post the episode. I went back to July 2020 to re-listen to the episode that seduced me into listening to Yalabat, which was the first episode in our daily coverage of the Singapore elections hustling periods. And I even forgot that our hashtag was Be Less Pathetic. Because we want you to be apathetic.
don't be apathetic, right?
Don't be apathetic,
Be less pathetic.
less pathetic. And that was the first of like nine episodes of the East Coast
Nice.
Plan and Lee Hsien Yang's decision.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and she pointed out, that was like early days of Yalabat and COVID times, before Harish was a husband and dad, before Terrence also became a dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah. Good old times.
good old times. Because I mean, this year we're going to be doing the same thing, but with a whole new idea, which is going to be exciting.
Yeah. My one shot comments also from long-time listener, accidental jurist, talking about the Sia Camping episode that we just put out over the weekend. I thought that Sia Camping was very candid in explaining his views on his current and former roles. I feel that you both got the correct balance right, acknowledging the positives, asking pressing questions on the controversies, and injecting light-hearted moments along the way. While I don't think that this will change how people vote, I do think that these podcasts help remind us that politicians are also human. So yeah, it's good that people are listening to these podcasts, even with the incumbents, right? The PAP MPs and all, and getting something from it, lah.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
dismissing them purely as like, oh, PAP dog, things like that, lah, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah, got more episodes lined up. So hopefully you all continue to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about your one shot thing, man?
Yeah, I guess because we're reading all this about tariffs and all that, I my one shot thing is about the tariffs, lah, right? And that's I think SNL did a Trump tariff cold open where they, reenacted the conference.
Liberation Day.
Yeah, the Liberation Day media conference where Trump announced all the tariffs. And Mike Myers came on as Elon Musk again, lah, right? And I thought it was interesting because they make certain jokes that, I mean, they're funny, but they're also quite scary. Like, it's no longer, like, they're no longer calling their base MAGA anymore. They're calling it MAGDA, Make America Great Depression Again. Jokes like that, right? And they talk about, try to explain the formula as well, and just point out how ridiculous the whole formula is. So it's actually quite,
good,
it's good. It's funny. And
So
then,
SNL coming back.
I mean,
Election.
I think the important thing is that they're not, it does feel like they're going back to, making fun of the kind of ridiculous personalities of these politicians as opposed to about being more partisan about the politics, right? Whether it's supporting Democrats or anything like that, right? And so they are pointing out a lot of stuff about Elon Musk and the ridiculousness of, his mannerisms and all that as well, and the stuff he says. So it doesn't feel as biased or as partisan as.
But they
I
don't
felt it
make
used
fun
to be.
of the Democrats as much. Right?
I mean, especially now because they're not in power, right?
Yeah.
But Trump is just giving everyone so much fodder to make fun of.
For the comedians.
So at least there was a little laugh that you could glean out of all this research that we're doing about the tariffs.
Cool. Okay, my one shot thing is something related to football. Because I saw this one video uploaded by the Bundesliga YouTube channel, which is the German Premier League. And it was a video called POV, You Are a Referee at the Klassiker in the Bundesliga. So I think it's the annual match between Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. So what they did was they put a body cam. I mean, I think the referees all have body cams, but
Yeah.
they took footage from the body cam and they mic'd him up, so you can literally see him run through the game, and it's actually damn shag, no. And the whole time, no, because when you watch the thing, you think that the referees are quiet, and they only talk when they are interacting with players. But you hear him even when running. He was like, okay, you get up, you just fell, Leon. That doesn't work. Okay, so it's like a conversation he's having with the players throughout the game, and like he knows their names and remembering how many people have kind of like fouled without getting a yellow card, and when you give him a yellow card, saying this is the third time, it blew my mind, man. Like it's so intense, and like you really have to concentrate, man. So and he looks damn fit, lah.
Yeah.
Then you think, what, the job of referee is damn hard,
Stressful also, right?
damn stressful, because you have 22 players on the pitch who are all charged up, a lot of testosterone there, and you're having to kind of manage it.
And the crowd also
crowd
boos you
also.
for your decisions.
And then the managers on the touchline also.
Yeah,
In this
yeah.
game, he yellow carded one of the managers.
Yeah.
And he summed it up very nicely. He said, Eddie, after the game, you just hope that the referee is not part of any discussion, lah. And that's the goal for every referee.
Yeah.
So the video was damn cool, man.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's damn fun to watch.
No, yeah, it's interesting because I was at this football thing for kids over the weekend, and I just saw how important it is that the adult who's managing all the different personalities. This one being like 4-5-year-old kids, right? Like you really need to have a firm hand on everything. If not, it just becomes like chaotic, chaos, right?
So can you imagine a bunch of like grown ass men on the pitch?
Who can beat the shit out of you and all that, right?
It's damn interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool, man.
Cool.
That brings us to the end of the podcast. So remember, if you enjoyed it, please share it with at least one person who may not have heard of us.
Yeah.
Follow us on social media, so Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, and leave us a rating on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah. And if you want to work with us, contact us at contact@ministryofunny.com, or just check out our website, ministryofunny.com. There's a lot of details about what we do there.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to y'all soon.